Everybody wants happiness, joyfulness, peaceful world. Our 21st century will not be easy century. Fear, anger, hatred. In our mind, we created distinctions, different nationality, different color, different religion. Strong concept of we and they. Brothers and sisters of this small planet. We are same human beings.
This is Factual America. Does the 14th Dalai Lama, Tenzin Gyatso, offer the secret to happiness in this crazy, noisy world of ours? Award-winning director Barbara Miller and a Swiss film crew went to northern India to find out. The result is her film Wisdom of Happiness, an intimate 90 minutes spent with the Dalai Lama as he reflects on his life and the world we live in. Barbara reveals the Dalai Lama's secrets to happiness and a fulfilling life, along with interesting tidbits about his likely successor and his feelings on the situation in Tibet. We also learn how movie star Richard Gere became involved, bringing in Hollywood filmmaker Oren Moverman to help create an immersive meditation on the Dalai Lama's teachings. Stay tuned. Barbara Miller, welcome to Factual America. How are things with you?
Thanks so much for having me.
It's great to have you on. We're talking about your film, Wisdom of Happiness. Executive producers Richard Gere and Oren Moverman, already screened across Europe and beyond. Actually, I wasn't there for the festival, but I was actually in Zurich when it screened. I remember I saw the posters all over the place. So I was wondering what this is about. So it's great to finally be able to get you on. You're releasing in theaters in the U.S. from October 17th. Any other big screenings or releasings we should know about?
I mean, it will start at the same time in Canada. We're now releasing in France, in Italy. So yeah, I mean, it's really great that the film is traveling and that we can reach, I mean, till now, really a huge audience here in Europe. And we're so happy that the film is finally coming to the US.
Well, maybe you can get us started. What is Wisdom of Happiness all about? Maybe give us a synopsis.
I mean, our main goal was to bring this incredible wisdom of the Dalai Lama in a film for the audience to have a chance to, in 90 minutes, really engage with the Dalai Lama and especially his thoughts about our modern times, because I think in these troubled times, it's so important to find some answer to the most daring questions we have.
And whose idea was this? Because I mean, he's been in other docs, right? And he doesn't travel anymore, and he's 90 years old, I think. So, how did this all come about?
I mean, it wasn't easy to really have the chance to do an interview with the Dalai Lama, but we worked with Manuel Bauer, who's the longtime photographer, personal photographer of the Dalai Lama. He's Swiss. And with this connection, we really got the chance to do probably the last long interview with the Dalai Lama. What was really important to us, that it's not about the Dalai Lama, but it's a film with the Dalai Lama. I mean, he talks directly into the camera, means it's really like, for the audience, like a private meeting with the Dalai Lama, where he really answers, these urgent questions we have today.
And how long did you film with him? And, what was it like to work with him? I mean, and that must have been incredible.
Yeah, it was really incredible experience. He's living since 60 years in Dharamsala. I mean, in exile in North India, in the mountains, in the Himalayas. So we worked with the Swiss and the Indian crew, and we had to bring up all the gears to Dharamsala, which wasn't so easy. And then we were able to prepare in his private rooms for 2 days to set up the interview, the whole setting. And we were really, really nervous because, it's like a once-in-a-lifetime chance to talk with him.
Right.
But then he came in the room and he was so kind, and he was joking, and so open. I mean, what he says, that we are all equal and we all should treat each other just as human beings, that's really what he does. So he really takes away all your nervousness, and it was really, really great being in his presence.
And what surprised you most about being there with them for those few days?
I really think his humbleness.
Right.
That he's so accessible, that he's so kind, that he really, he has this, you can feel his heart embracing all human beings. I mean, this for me was really the most impressive experience.
And so, as you say, this isn't, and I thought that's what was great about this. It's not about him, although his story weaves through it, obviously, but so he is providing his, if you will, secrets for happiness, right? It's almost like would you say it's like a farewell address in a way? I mean, not that he's thinking of it necessarily that way, but as you say, this may be the last interview that full, master interview that he ever does.
Yeah, in a way, it's a little bit like a legacy. I mean, we try to sum up his biggest idea, his biggest wishes for our times. So, and as you said, I mean, it's not about the Dalai Lama, but with him. But it was important to tell some parts of his story because we really thought we can learn a lot from him. I mean, someone who had to flee, who lost his country, who lost everything he had, and he doesn't have any bad feelings for the people. I mean, for the Chinese government who made him flee, who makes the life of the Tibetans really, really difficult in their country. I mean, you know that this year the Chinese government prohibited to use the word Tibet. I mean, they rename it otherwise.
Really?
Yeah, it's incredible. So there's a huge pressure, but it's really, I mean, I think we all can learn how to handle difficult situations from the way how he handles this difficult situation he's in since so many years.
Meanwhile, global warming is a serious problem. Destruction of this planet is actually destruction of yourself. Our common responsibility should be work together to save our world.
So I think that gets to the nub of this film. I mean, everyone should just see. Obviously, we're not going to go through all of his teachings and everything he says in a 90-minute film. But what did you take away from it? What are the main secrets to success, basically?
I think one of the really big secrets or wisdoms is that we really learn to handle our emotions, that we really learn to handle how we deal with especially negative emotions, that normally if you're angry or you feel kind of hatred to someone, that you really make this step back and you try to understand, why do I have this feeling? And to see the other as human being, maybe to condemn the action, but not the human being. I think this is one of the really important things. And the other is, if you find through this method of dealing with our emotions, if we find a feeling of, you can say, inner peace or inner happiness, that's also what we bring outside of us. That's how we treat the others. That's maybe a way how we can overcome differences, how we can find dialogue in times where I think there's a lot of noise and a lot of insecurities. So I think, the wisdom he brings us is really, I think, key to the situation we have nowadays in the whole world.
I mean, another thing that struck me in the film is I think there's a lot of discussion about our perception of reality and how our perception of reality lets us down, doesn't it?
Oh, yeah. I mean, he makes it so clear that so much what we really believe as a reality is just a projection. It just has to do with our ideas, or as I said before, with our feelings, that we project so much negative things and maybe they're not even there. Maybe it's really just in our heads or our fears. Often it's our fears or our insecurity that's coming out. And I think, he's a big philosopher. I mean, he's one of the greatest philosophers of our time. So, I mean, it wasn't easy to bring that in a way, in a film that is understandable for everyone. So it was important not to have these really philosophical discussions, but to have it really like, being understandable and usable for each and every one. And I think this is really also what he tries to do, to bring this knowledge to all of us in a way that we understand it.
Well, what struck me too is, and I think that comes out, like you say, you're not telling his story, but we see scenes from his life and also in his discussions with you. And this isn't some guy sitting on a throne up in a temple up on top of a mountain someplace. He's very practical. He even says he likes to go shopping. He even says, things like that. I mean, he kind of understands. Oh, he likes his technology. He's very. The other thing that struck me, besides this, how we all have this very skewed view of reality because, like you say, our negativity or emotions cloud our vision. But he's a very rational person. He's very much into his science and to rational sort of scientific exploration of trying to answer some of the problems we face, while also acknowledging that on its own, I don't think science can do that.
Yeah, I think this is really interesting about the Dalai Lama, that he's so interested in all these things like science, like the technology, but he also sees the downside of it. And he really tries to combine all these different elements. And as he was traveling, he was traveling his whole life. So he really knows in what kind of world we're living. And it's the contrary of someone, sitting in a palace and not knowing what is going on. And I also think, if we talk about the religious part, I mean, he's a spiritual leader,
right?
But he's the opposite of someone who says, oh, we all have to become Buddhists. I mean, he says the most important thing is to find your own religion or spirituality. And for him, the most important thing is ethics. I mean, he says, if we find the ethics, which is given in all religion, in all cultures, if the secular ethic for him is the most important thing. So if we really care about it, I mean, the human rights, the equality of all human beings, I think then the world would change.
Yeah, no, sorry, I didn't know. I was just going to say at the very beginning, he just says, doesn't he say something like, even kind of almost uses his hands? We're not talking about religion, right? We're not, and it's not that he's rejecting religion, but and for people of faith, he's just basically saying, I think he's acknowledging that sometimes gets in the way of the discussion. If you say you're religious, then people kind of back off,
Yeah, I think, and he's embracing all religions or all non-religious people, because he says, important is that we see each other as human beings, that we see each other as equal. It doesn't matter which color of your skin or which religion or which faith or which belief you have.
Yeah.
And this is why he says, and we're not talking about religion. Of course, he could make a huge Buddhist discourse, but that's not what it's all about.
Actually, I think this is a good time to take an early break. So we'll be right back with Barbara Miller, the director of Wisdom of Happiness, releases in theaters in the U.S. from October 17th and in Canada as well. While you're at it, why not subscribe or follow us? Please turn on your notifications to make sure you never miss one of our episodes. We'll be right back. Factual America is brought to you by Alamo Pictures, a London-based production company specializing in feature documentaries, factual television, and shorts about the U.S. Benefiting from an outsider's keen eye and years of stateside experience, Alamo's filmmakers explore topical, uniquely American stories from a sympathetic European perspective. The result is engaging cinema and television that defies stereotypes and helps audiences truly understand what makes America tick. Check out Alamo's website at alamopictures.co.uk to be the first to hear about new productions, festivals showing Alamo's films, and to connect with the team. Now back to Factual America. Welcome back to Factual America. I'm here with the award-winning director Barbara Miller. Her latest film is Wisdom of Happiness, an intimate 90 minutes spent with the 14th Dalai Lama. Releases in the U.S. and Canada from October 17th. So, Barbara, we were talking before the break, obviously talking about the Dalai Lama and your experience filming with him and what the messages he gives. I mean, the other thing had anyone ever heard of Tibetan Buddhism before he came along? I mean, and for our cultures too. I mean, I've grown up with him. I'm sure he's part of our culture. He's a cultural touch point, whether you're a believer or not. I mean, we all make jokes. There's even a joke about the Dalai Lama in Caddyshack. There's one of my favorite scenes from that film. So it's kind of like he is this amazing figure.
Yeah, he is. I mean, as you said, there wasn't so much knowledge about Tibetan Buddhism before the Dalai Lama. The 14th Dalai Lama, the Dalai Lama we all know, started to travel the world. And of course, it happened because he had to flee from Tibet. He had to save his life. But he always says, if all the things, they have a downside, but also a positive side. And he says this was really like the chance to bring this millennium-old knowledge to the world. And I think Tibetan Buddhism wasn't known so much before because all the other Dalai Lamas, the 13 Dalai Lamas before, they stayed in their palace in Lhasa.
Right. And so here you have this incredible man, and you've gone to film with him in northern India. How did you create such an intimacy? Because there are obviously loads of documentary filmmakers. You get your master interviews and you try to create that, but there is something. It's a challenge because that is all you've got is him just talking right to camera, which I'm sure it's not what he's used to doing. And how did that work?
Yeah, we had this eye-to-eye technology.
Yeah.
Means we were really sitting like in a normal interview, but in front of the camera there was like a setup. Mm-hmm. And it's called direct eye. And that means we could see each other through mirrors. But in the moment he was talking to me, he knew he would talk directly to the world. Mm. And I have a feeling that this motivated him extremely, because it wasn't this normal setup of asking question and his answer. Of course we did that, but knowing him that he's really talking to the world, I think that was that created an incredible intimacy, because it was this feeling of talking directly into the hearts of human beings. I had this feeling, and I have really this feeling that it worked for the film. And it was, of course, the masterpiece for the film.
Right.
On top of that, then we created with a lot of other materials the whole film.
We all have this marvelous human brain. The problem is when negative emotions develop, our whole mind is taken over. So we must deal with emotions. I can change my mind. I can reduce anger, hatred. Nothing to do with religion. All religions carry the message of love, loving kindness, and tolerance.
And in those interviews, did anything end up on the cutting room floor that you wish you could have included?
We really try to use most of the thing we had, because it's such a rare occasion that you have a possibility to talk with the Dalai Lama. Yeah. Of course, he was talking a lot. Let's say he was talking a lot about the environment, because it's really to his heart. And we included it in the film. He was talking about the situation in Tibet. What was really wonderful is that he surprised us talking about his parents, really in a personal way.
That was interesting.
Yeah, it was so beautiful, to really see him talking as a child about how his parents was. So, we really got some insights that were so surprising and amazing.
Yeah. And you mentioned Tibet. I mean, what does he think of I think he's on record, but you say anything more about now? As you said, you're not even allowed, well, I don't know if this was the case when you were filming, but you can't even use the word Tibet in China anymore. What were his feelings on the future of Tibet and China's occupation?
Yeah, I think what we didn't know when we were filming is if he has the idea that there will be a reincarnation of the Dharma, so a new Dalai Lama.
That was the other question I was going to ask, yeah.
And now, at his 90th birthday, who was in July, he mentioned that there will be a new Dalai Lama. In our film, he mentioned that it could be also a woman, which is
Right.
really beautiful. The Pope, I have never heard him saying things like that. So, but what was, the Dalai Lama said really clearly, there will be a new Dalai Lama, probably someone who is not born inside Tibet, because the situation is really difficult, and he's living in exile. And what we have seen is that the Chinese government reacted immediately and said that they will decide who will be the next Dalai Lama, which is in a kind of strange. They're not Buddhists. They're not really part of this culture. So let's see.
They try to do the same thing with everyone else. They try to name all the bishops for the Catholic Church. They try to do, they try to control everything. So it's not surprising. Well, that's very interesting. So any idea when we're going to get an announcement on who the reincarnation, or who this person is?
Normally it's really in the days when this Dalai Lama will die, will not be longer among us. In these days, there will be the announcement. So we will see. And what is really great is that the US government some years ago decided that they won't accept Dalai Lama that is named by the Chinese government. And I think this should happen in much more countries. So that's really great from the US that they try to save this country and especially this culture, because of course it's the idea to get rid of this incredible culture. So that shouldn't happen.
With different views, there is a possibility to synthesize new ideas. If majority of the world leaders become female, world become safer. I feel that.
And speaking of the U.S., so you had Richard Gere got involved. So how did that happen, and what was his contribution?
We were incredibly lucky. We had the Office of the Dalai Lama seeing a rough cut of the film, and they said, maybe this could be something that Richard could be interested. He's a long-time friend and follower of the Dalai Lama and very into Buddhism. And producer Philippe Delacqui wrote an email to Richard, and it convinced him that we were able to go to New York and show him and his wife and Tenzin Gyatso, which is the niece of the Dalai Lama, the rough cut.
Okay.
And it was very beautiful to see. They really were. Alejandra was overwhelmed. She was so happy to see this film. And Richard said, wow, it was a rough cut that was 75 minutes long. And Richard said, please let us do a 90-minute version. And if you're open, we can edit together. And
lovely.
Yeah, so we were 2 months in New York together with Richard and Oren, and to have all this expertise from Richard coming into this film, and this personal knowledge of the Dalai Lama was really wonderful. It was so inspiring. For Richard, it was important, that we really emphasize on the Dalai Lama, that he's just a normal human being. We have a scene in it where the Dalai Lama talks about how it was when he was a little child to become the Dalai Lama. That he wasn't just born the Dalai Lama. He had to learn a lot. And he was a child who just wanted to play. So it's really interesting to see all these personal aspects also, what it means to be a Dalai Lama.
Yeah. Yeah, no, that was, it was very kind of an austere childhood in that sense. He does have these wonderful memories of his parents. Funny memories. He's always laughing, even about memories that could be painful. He's a little child and he's being made to learn things by rote and memorize things and teachings and stuff. So it's it's quite a weight to put on a young man's shoulders. That's for sure. In this time in New York, is this when this? I hope you don't mind me using the term. Is this when it kind of turned into a thought poem? Because that's what it feels like to me. It's a work. It's like a very flowing. It's him talking, but then you interweave it with all these scenes and beautiful shots and incredible photography. And so was that kind of Richard and Oren's inputs there as well?
Of course, we created it together, but for us, it was always very important that it becomes an experience, that it becomes an immersive experience, that, we didn't want to do a documentary where it's all in your head. It has to be head and heart. That's the most important thing for the Dalai Lama. And the goal was really to put together, we have archive material, which we were allowed to digitalize, which haven't been seen before because it was these old film rolls, deteriorating, some of them. So we were really lucky and we found so many beautiful scenes where you see the Dalai Lama as a child, as a young man, first days in India.
Compassion is the key factor. Non-violence, compassion, and self-confidence. These are key factors for happy individual, happy community, peaceful world. This century should be century of compassion, century of peace, no more bloodshed.
Yeah, no, I would agree. There's some scenes even from 59 in Tibet, which is when the Chinese stormed in, right, and took over. It's like quite an... I imagine there were newsreel for people at the time, but yeah, I'd never seen any of this kind of footage before, so it was quite incredible.
Yeah, and what we had this really nice shots from Manuel Bauer, the photographer Dalai Lama, who went through the whole world to do also in the Himalayas images. Mm-hmm. But I think one really crucial element was that we had music that was already composed. And Richard and Oren asked us to really, really have someone creating the music for the film. Mm. So almost at the end of the edit, Ariel Marks, which is a LA-based composer and very well known to Oren, decided that after she gave birth to her little girl, 2 weeks later, she started to do the music. And this was 3 weeks or 4 weeks before we had the world premiere.
Oh my goodness. Wow.
She did such an amazing job. The music and the images, they're really, they're coming all together, I think. And this helps to give this feeling of, this immersive experience you have. People say it's kind of a meditation, this 1.5 hour. Yeah. It helps you to have this feeling of, what inner happiness could mean. And hopefully getting out of the film with this feeling of hope and calmness and also joy. Yeah, as you said, he's really laughing also a lot.
Yeah, he does. Has he seen the film?
He has seen parts of it. His family, we showed it to the family before it was the world premiere, but he said, no, I don't want to see myself. I know what I'm talking about. He's really, but then his sister told him, Chetsumpema, come, there are old images you have never seen.
Oh, yeah.
And he enjoyed so much seeing himself in the snow playing or the last images in Lhasa. So, maybe he has seen a third or half of the film.
Right.
And, everyone tries that he will see the whole film, and I really hope someday it will happen.
Now time come, we should develop big we rather than we at the day. With these wings, you can fly.
Okay. Well, last thing on that, I think you sort of already kind of said it, but what do you want this film's legacy to be?
That's a huge question. I mean, there are so many things I hope, or we hope, that this film can achieve, in the sense of really touching people's heart and minds. And I think the most important thing in these times we're living right now is to give to the audience the feeling of hope, to know that it's important not to give up, and that everyone can really find, in a way, the inner peace and inner happiness, but also can share it with others, so that in the end we can create a society that is more peaceful, more kind with each other. I mean, for the Dalai Lama, he always says compassion is the most important attitude and feeling we can have, so that we have this rebuilding communities, rebuilding a sense of we and not we and they. And I think this is really, one of the most important things this film can give us as a feeling, to live, really living with hope and, having a future for all of us.
Indeed. And I think what I would recommend to listeners and viewers, if you get a chance to see this, well, certainly if you're in a theater, you won't have, maybe it was an issue, but it's watching it at home for me. I had to, about 5-10 minutes in, I was like, wait a minute. I had the phone next to me and I had to go turn it off because, you just keep getting it's this reminder of all the world we live in, all these, alerts and pingings and things going off. And it just was taking away from what should be, yes, I agree. It should be an immersive experience. So just a big thanks, Barbara. What's one last question? What's next for you?
I will now, I think, travel for the next 2-3 months back and forth to the US.
Right.
Accompany the film to Italy and France. So I think for the next half year, it will still be my journey with Wisdom of Happiness, and try to reach as many people and bring as much hope and fun and happiness to the world as possible.
So far it's theatrical releases. Is there any chance it's going to end up on being streamed at any time in the near future? I
think, that will be one of the goals afterwards, to have it on a streamer, of course. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Hey, well, thank you again. Just to remind everyone, we've been talking with Barbara Miller, the director of Wisdom of Happiness. Just a reminder again, it releases in theaters in the U.S. and Canada from October 17th. Do check it out. Please like the episode and follow us wherever you listen to podcasts, or subscribe to our YouTube channel. And remember to ring the bell to be notified of future episodes. So, Barbara, thanks again. It was great having you on, and hopefully we can have you on again sometime.
Thank you so much, Matthew.
Thanks for listening to Factual America. Please subscribe and like us, and share us with friends and family. Find us on YouTube, social media, and factualamerica.com. This is Matthew Sherwood, signing off.
This camera.
Yes, here.
Okay.